from the Heart.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Horror from the Heart. And my name is Josh, as always. So this time I kind of want to get into a little bit more of a serious topic. And I know a lot of people probably wouldn't consider this like within the horror realm, but for me I kind of think it is, simply because it deals with a real life type of horror situation that many people face every single day. Because surprisingly, this kind of stuff happens every single damn day. And it started because the factor that we have the Gabby Petito stuff going on right now, with the factor that she went missing for a little while, and they sadly found her remains, most likely. I don't know if they've actually 100% identified that. I haven't heard any updates lately. But it kind of got me thinking about the whole idea of missing persons and kidnappings and things like that as well. For me, that is kind of like a horror aspect because of the factor of, like, we do have movies where people get kidnapped, and we have stories where people get kidnapped. I mean, hell, we have action movies, technically, that are out there that, have people that get kidnapped. I mean, Taken as a prime example. He gets on the phone and he's all like, I don't know who you are, I don't know where you are, but I'll find you, and blah, 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 type of thing. But it's also within that realm of horror, because imagine being a parent or being a spouse or anything like that and having something like that happen. It's just a horrific idea. Like me, myself, I'm a dad, and I couldn't imagine how I would feel if my kid ended up missing or whatever. Because it's just that horrible aspect of how life is and how life can be. So for me, I would sit back and definitely say that, like, kidnapping and things like that, abductions and all that, definitely fall within that realm of horror. Now, you can disagree with me if you want, or if you do agree with me, by all means, let me know. But I was kind of looking up some of the stats and stuff like that were out there. So, I mean, it's said from the safeatlast.co website on the kidnapping statistics, it's saying that more than 460,000 children go missing every year. Now, I know for a lot of people, they sit back and it's like, that's not a lot, considering how many people are out there in the world, but that's actually a pretty staggering number. I mean, you're talking about a certain percentage of people. 460,000 children go missing every single year. Imagine being one of those parents that are out there that, your kids just all of a sudden out there missing. And I know that, like, a lot of times when it comes to kidnapping and stuff like that, there's either ransom type of stuff that goes on, or it ends up being something where it's for sex trafficking, as horrible as that sounds. Because sex trafficking is definitely one of those ones that is very prominent, not just, here in the United States, but it's prominent across the world. Because if you look at the statistics that they have on there, I mean, 43% of the global kidnappings for ransom occur in Asia. So imagine that, in Asia alone, 43% of the global kidnappings. And that's for a ransom. Because a lot of these people who end up doing this kind of stuff for kidnapping and things like that, I'm pretty sure they're, simply pinpointing people who they believe have money or can pay them money. And that's kind of a scary thing. Now, on the sex trafficking part, they say that it is worth $150 billion, and this is American dollars right here. So if you're from a different country or anything like that, take 150 billion, do Google, and transfer that over into your own currency. So it kind of gives you an idea as far as how much that could be. And something like that, when it comes to the sex trafficking, 99% of them are female. So, I mean, this is something that happens to ladies a lot. So for, all my lady listeners that are out there, please, by all means, stay safe. Do what you can to make sure that you stay safe. Learn self-defense techniques. Stay in lit areas. Don't travel alone if you don't have to in certain areas. Because, I mean, I'm all about empowerment for every single person out there, but women empowerment for sure, simply because I know how bad it can be for ladies. I grew up with 2 sisters, no brothers, so I got to see a lot of, stuff that they ended up going through. But you have stuff like that, but then you also have a different area of that kind of thing where if you look at the entirety of everything, it's about 600,000 people that go missing every year. and 4,400, bodies that are unidentified end up coming up, where they're just like, wait, who's this? But there's tons and tons of people who never get found. They are never discovered. They're just gone. They're just missing, and nobody knows what happened to them. And it's kind of a sad, sad thing to sit back and think about. So like with the the Gabby Petito thing that's going on right now, it's like, sure as hell they're thinking that the boyfriend probably did something to her. But for a little while there, she propped up as a missing person. And it kind of makes you wonder about how many of these people that end up going missing or end up being kidnapped throughout these years are just gone. They've passed away, they've been murdered and things like that. Simply because we do have that whole thing that, people, they do the ransom and people are able to make it back, but we have a much larger number of people that are out there that never come back. I mean, it's really kind of a shocking thing to actually really think about, because when you look at the numbers right there, 600,000 people go missing every year. But there's plenty of people that go missing for more than a year, and then they eventually consider that a cold case. And there's a lot of steps that they take in order to try and track things like that down. But given the sheer number of people that end up going missing or end up becoming, into the sex trafficking stage of stuff, it's not like they're not trying to do anything. It's more in that aspect of not having the resources to be able to do that. So it makes the world kind of a scary, scary place. I mean, any one of us that go out there into the world, no matter who you are, man or woman or child or, teenager, you have that potential chance of having some really shitty stuff happen to you on that kind of area. Because, like, prime example, like I said, I started up the TikTok thing, and I've been trying to do a daily fact thing every single day. So if you haven't gone to go check out the TikTok to go look at the daily facts I've been doing, I do one every single day. But one of the facts I ended up doing was about the song Polly. If you've ever listened to the band Nirvana and listened to their Nevermind album, there's a song on there called Polly. And that song is actually specifically referencing a kidnapping and torture of a girl. I mean, and you have tons of different songs out there. I mean, you can actually look this up. There's tons of different songs out there that go based off of shocking type of shit like that. I mean, hell, there was one about The Doors, where if you've ever heard the song Riders on the Storm, that one was about a family that got kidnapped. Not just one person, a family got kidnapped. And that's kind of a scary, scary thought right there too. Because it's like the guy was just, that was the whole point of that song. It's like there's a killer on the road. And just the way that song goes. I mean, it's a soothing song. Don't ask me why. There's something comforting about the way they do that. And I mean, Jim Morrison just has this voice. But the undertone of what that actually is about and what it means is really kind of a scary thing. Same thing with Polly. I mean, like, he literally sits back and says in a line that, hey, let me turn the blowtorch off, because that was a method of torture that the guy who kidnapped this girl did. So, I mean, just that whole horrible thought. I mean, even look at something like you get into movies and things like that, too, where it's like Hostel. Now, I know a lot of people consider like Hostel like that whole torture porn type of stuff. All three of the movies is torture porn. But when you get into the base facts of it, it's really like a kidnapping type of story. These people were taken to basically go get tortured for however long. I mean, and then there's tons of other movies out there. I can't sit there and go through every single movie that is out there, but just trying to give a little bit of reference as far as some that are out there. There's tons of little horror movies that are out there that are based off of kidnappings, just kidnapping alone, or abduction and things like that. I mean, hell, Megan is Missing. If you've ever seen that movie, you know how jacked up that movie is. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest checking it out, because that one is pretty fucking harrowing. Definitely pretty fucking harrowing. But it definitely makes for an interesting watch in that same kind of way. I mean, hell, like I said, tons of different little movies that are out there. So, I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, check it out. But my absolute most biggest thing on this whole entire aspect is just the aspect of stay safe out there. I mean, be aware of your surroundings. And I know it sounds like being a paranoid type of person and stuff like that, but in all honesty, I mean, the world is a very, very cruel, cruel place. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we take the aspect of horror and we get into it, because of the fact that we realize that the world is a cruel, cruel place. But we get entertainment out of the kind of fiction stuff that ends up happening that's out there. I mean, but then you get into the reality-based stuff like with Gabby Petito or JonBenet Ramsey. I mean, hell, I'm old enough to remember when that case was going on. But you have stuff like that, and it just makes it so scary in those kind of ways. So with that, though, I'm going to go ahead and end right about here. And I really want you guys to take the time to, check into some of these facts and stuff like that. Whatever country it is that you're living in, or here in the States or anything like that, look at the statistics that are out there. And just remember, stay safe out there. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't take candy from strangers. And, that's all I can ask for. I really appreciate each and every single one of you who take the time to listen to me rant and ramble on about things every single week. Just remember, if you're listening to this on podcasts, give me a review. Let me know what you think. If you're listening to this on YouTube, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, because I put out something every single week with the podcast. But the YouTube channel is actually getting more content right now too. So if you like listening to scary Reddit stories and stuff like that, go over to YouTube, go check that out. I should have a new episode coming out every Wednesday, 4 Central Time. And TikTok, if you want a daily dose of horror facts, and it goes throughout the whole entire gamut, just like this podcast of different types of horror stuff. I give daily facts every single day over there on TikTok. Plus, you get to see my face, get to see, the face behind the voice if you're ever interested. But I'll continue to be putting out that kind of content every single day as long as I can, except for the weekends. Weekends are my time. The weekends are my time. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to listen to me rant and ramble, as I said, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Please stay safe.